Lakeview Art, and this is 7th grade Laker Art. And today we're going to be doing atmospheric perspective, painting the background of a sea serpent in oil pastels. So we will be looking to accomplish this right here. So we will be creating it to make it look like an in-depth picture. Now, before we go any further, though, I want to show you real quickly, just to discuss it, what atmospheric perspective is. And I'm just going to show it to you right there so you can see it. Atmospheric perspective is here where the foreground is the darkest, the highest intensity. It continues to get lighter as it goes further back. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas of color put in, and they lose and reduce their intensity as they get further back. So it's an amazing process and one that is pretty interesting. So, all right, there's the screen. Look at the mirror effect of the screen. Now there's my pause button, and I will. All right, here we go. Atmospheric perspective, painting the background of the sea serpent, and here we go. We are going to use our hue, our tint 1 and our tint 2 today. So we're only going to use 2 colors. We're going to use green and white. There's my white right there. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start to lay in white. So I'm going to take my white and I'm going to go to the height of the second. Well, actually, I'm going to go to right here, the height of the second plate. And I'm going to start to color that in by using horizontal lines. And then I'm going to switch it over and turn my paper sideways. And I'm going to do vertical lines. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So now I'm here. I'm going to run it. And as I do my vertical lines, I want them to go over where I started. But I'm going to go vertical. And I'm going to put those in. And I cross hatch it really hard because this is white is a weak tinting color, so I need to put it in darkly. All right, I have now cross-hatched the whole thing. I'm going to take and I haven't cross-hatched. Just the water is all I've done. And if you noticed before, and if you were picking up on it, I used an oxymoron. An oxymoron is when you say he hit the soft ground hard. The ground can't be, if it's soft, how do you hit it hard? So what I said is we're going to put a second layer of white down because we want to make it more dark. White is a light color that you don't make dark. Now, I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go in my sky, and I'm going to pull my white, and I'm just going to pull it all the way to about 1 finger away from, and I'm going to cross-hatch that as well. And I'm going to put that in all the way up, all the way across. Hey, I just made a little mistake. I'm going to use my wire tool like this, but I could actually use a paper clip or I could use a safety pin. And all I'm going to do is pull it across this, and it will start to pull some of this out, and it'll take off some of the extra. So like even here, I have some, and you can see that it'll take the red right off, and it'll remove it. Now this got a little messy, so I'm going to go over that with my white. Now, I'm going to cross-hatch this in some spots just to make sure I got plenty there. I think I already did that, but I'm just to be safe. Oh, I completely forgot that spot. And then I'm just going to go through. All right, now I'm going to take my green, and I'm going to put my green, and I'm going to cover that area right down here, and I'm going to go very firm with it until it starts to hit some white. And then once it hits the white, I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to cross-hatch it at the bottom, but I'm not going to cross-hatch it at the top. I'm going to continue that all the way over. Now I've got that green put all the way across. I'm just going to make sure that there's an extra layer there. Now I'm going to do a line of green across the whole top surface. And that's going to be a good firm green. And then I'm going to come back. And I'm just going to go lightly with and I'm going to pull the light to about right there, about maybe 1 or 2 fingers down, and I'm going to do the same thing all the way across. I'm lightly pressing my green on the white so that it reduces its intensity. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to just pull it lightly about there. And actually, I'm covering the second tint with a light to about 2/3. So this is 1/3, second third, this will be here. So I'm just lightly putting this green over. There we go. Now I've got all that green there. Now I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to wrap it around my finger. I'm going to fold it twice though. And then I'm going to wrap that around my finger. And then I'm going to start to blend. And when I start to blend, I'm going to start in the middle here. I'm going to go into my green. And I'm going to start just pulling back and forth in a circle motion. I call this scumbling. And I'm just going to scumble this back and forth in a circle and start to pull it up nice and easy. And then as I pull it up, you should note that it starts to, whoops, and I went over my sea serpent right there. I'm going to have to fix that. But I'm going to pull it up and into the lighter area. I'm not going to go all the way to the horizon line. Notice I've come back down, and now I'm going into my green, and I'm scumbling my green. I'm trying to eliminate there being a line. And I'm going to start, when I do the next one, I'm going to do with a clean, look at that. So I got to take this, pull my white off. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use this tool to pull out and look at, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is how this works. So a paper clip or even your mom's spoon. Don't tell her though, because you'll get in big trouble. All right, I've scumbled and you can see I've used plenty of my paper towel. I'm going to go and do the sky now, find a different spot. I wrestled in Poland and Czechoslovakia in the 80s, and this was about, this would have been soft toilet paper in over there when I wrestled over there. So I'm going to pull this down. And I want to be careful not to go all the way to my horizon line. So I'm going to blend and try to eliminate that line. And then I'm going to come and pull that in. And something like that. Now I'm going to finish that up on the rest of the sky. All right, for the most part, we have all of that done. I should point out that we are going to now do some finishing touches. We're going to put the ripples in. Specifically, we're going to use our red again. Oop, I got some areas that I got to cover with my green down here. You can see that now that all of that is colored in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some red and I'm going to make a letter C right here. And it follows the curve of the bottom, the smiley face there, and then it goes behind. And it does the same here. I'm going to put a backward C there and one there. Now that looks like a ripple. I'm going to do the same over here, frontward C a little bigger. This one's going to be a backward C, backward C. Now I'm going to take my green and I'm going to cover those. Now I got those first two in. On the back one, I'm going to use that blue that I used for the horizon line in the last video. And then I'm going to do that blue on this one back here. Remember, as things got farther away in that picture, they got less, they were less dark green. And they also got, in a sense, they get bluer. And so I'm going to go over these with white back here to make them just look less distorted and more like, now I'm going to put white inside the ripple here. And that makes it look like it has a high point. And there I have my ripple. I'm going to put a little line there and a little line there. And I've got my ripples. Now I'm going to color the eyes. I'm going to color them all in. And then I'm going to use red and green on them. So I'm going to put my red on the inside. I'm going to take my green Then I'm going to take my white one more time and make the sunspot. I'm going to color my sun white, and I'm going to finish it up by, I'm going to add white over this. Then I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to kind of lightly rub that. And that'll reduce the intensity of my tail. I might need to go a little more. I think in the live video, I even showed adding a little bit of that blue because that's what we added on the horizon line. So things as they get farther away get a little bluer and they lose that detail. So that's where this really helps. I'm going to do the same right here on this part. I'm going to add some white because that one's further back. And I'm going to add some white on this part of the shadow just to reduce that intensity. I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm going to lightly blend that so I lose some of my detail. And then do the same on that part of the shadow. And as you can see, I now have a completed atmospheric perspective using oil pastels. Now, things in the foreground are the largest, so this part of the head is the biggest. It occupies a large amount of space. Notice the color intensity on the bottom, and because this guy's closest to us, he's the darkest. Now, as this body gets further away from us, he's still got intensity, but it loses it as it gets further away. And the shadow, same with this. Notice the horizon line isn't very clear. I could go over with white just to blend that white in and make it fuzzier. And I need a little bit of that blue and green in there because there is a spot right there. And I'm going to put a little white over that. That's how we reduce that intensity. Now, this is a great example and a fun little project. I owe this project to Mark Kistler. Mark Kistler is an online drawing service, and he drew the original sea serpent, much different than mine, and that's okay. One of the things you'll discover in art is that the more times you do something, the more it becomes yours in a sense of it becomes your journey, your trip. I'm going to take this, brush this off. Now, if you want this to stay permanent, if you have hairspray at home, use your mom's or your dad's hairspray. And Aquanet works the best. But again, congratulations. Remember to take a picture of it on a neutral background with nothing else in it so that we just see that. And then you're going to take a second picture of it with you in it, smiling, and then you're going to email that to me. All right. Hey, great to have you with. Super excited. This has been a great project and absolutely love it.